For today is mechanics of tooth movements from orthodontics. So basically it's like now there is some malocclusion which is present and we want to get some tooth movement. So the desired tooth movement and the ideal position of the tooth in the jaws, it is brought about by different orthodontics and orthopedic appliances. So we are using this orthopedic and orthodontic appliances, and because of that we brought up this desired tooth movements. So these movements, they result from the application of the forces which is produced by the appliances. So these appliances, they produce certain forces, and because of that there is this movement of the tooth that we want. So all these appliances, they are based on the same fundamental principles of engineering and mechanics. So understanding these universal principles, it aims the orthodontist to effectively select, design and manipulate the appliances for effective tooth movement. So basically, what is mechanics? So mechanics, it is the branch of engineering that describes the effect of the force on the body. So mechanics is nothing but the effect of the force on the body. First, we are going to see some basic terminologies which are related with this mechanics. So first is this force. So force, and there is this old saying in orthodontics, the disease may be many, but the prescription has only one medicine, and it is nothing but force. So there are many problems with malocclusions, like there are many types of malocclusions, but there is only one prescription, that is only one treatment to it, that is your orthodontics, and it totally depends upon the force. So judicious use of this force, it is necessary to obtain the desired result. So it is nothing but it is a vector with a both magnitude and direction. So basically it is defined as it is a physical quantity that acts upon a body to change or tends to change the state of the rest or of a uniform motion of that body. So now in this diagram, as you can see, so this is the force and this was the initial position of the body. So force is nothing but it is magnitude and the direction, vector with both magnitude and direction. So the magnitude of this force, for example, is 50 grams. So this is the magnitude, that is the 50 grams, and the direction in which it is moving. So this becomes your force. So when the force is applied on a body, it leads to change of the position of this body. So this was the initial position and this becomes the final position. So when you're applying forces, there is change in this position of the body. Now this is for the tooth. So the magnitude of the force is 50 grams. This was the initial position of the tooth, and when you're applying force, this becomes the final position of the tooth when it is moved. So this is basically force, and it can be applied in every aspect of orthodontics. So for example, now there is this proclination. For example, this is the proclination of the tooth. So what you're doing in this case is, like for example, you're applying force onto it. So this force will lead to the movement of this tooth and it will come to an exact position that we want. So this is the force. So in clinical practice, it is either a push or a pull type of force. So push forces, they are utilized for rapid maxillary expansion and distalization of molars by spring. So what is this rapid maxillary expansion? So basically in some cases the maxillary, so even we are doing this in model analysis where we are analyzing if the maxilla, it wants expansion or it don't want expansion. So if the maxilla, it want expansion, so in that cases what we do is, we suppose this is your maxilla and this is narrower and we want to expand it. So this is the expansion of maxilla, and because of this we are using the push motion in this case. And in case of distalization of molars, so distalization of molars is if there is proclination. For example, if there is proclination in the anteriors and we want to move it backwards, so what we do is we distalize. So we move the molars with the help of this springs posteriorly, and because of that the anteriors, they get into the posterior direction. So this is nothing but the push forces. You are pushing them. So you are over here, as you can see, you are pushing them outwards. So you are pushing them. And in pull forces, they are used for space closure, which is following extraction, closure of the midline diastema, and this is the most commonly used type of force in orthodontics. So this is basically when you're extracting some tooth and after that you want to close that space. So this is the tooth if present, if this is the tooth which is present, and this is the space which is present after extraction. So what you do is you pull this tooth over here and you pull this tooth over here. So because of that there is closure of this space, and this is the pull forces. So these are the different type of forces. So now over here in this diagram, now as you can see, so this is the origin point of the application. So this is nothing but pull and push forces. So the origin or the source, it is the point from which the force is applied. So this is where the force is applied and the direction in which it is moving. So now in pull force, so the body, it was present over here, and when you're pulling it, so the final position of the body is over here and it is in this direction as you're pulling it. Now in push, this was the origin point of application, the direction is this way and you're pushing it, so the body's initial position was over here, it becomes over here after pushing that. So these are the pull and the push forces, and this is like in this diagram. Now you can see this is the resultant force, F. It is through this combination of the forces F1 and F2. So like there are different ways in which it can be resolved. In this case, there was this point of application of the force and it is getting distributed into two types, that is F1 or F2. So F, it can be resolved into individual components. So these are two various types of orthodontic corrections. So this orthodontic correction, it is based on the application of the appropriate force on the teeth. So these forces, they are generated by a variety of ways through the orthodontic appliances. So this can be one way or this can be the other way. So these is like the important thing that you should know in orthodontics, that is this force. So now moving on towards the stress and strain. So what is stress? Stress is the force per unit area which is acting on millions of atoms in a given plane, or basically it is the external force which is acting on the body, it is called as load. So this external force which is acting on the body, it is called as load. So basically there is like an internal driving force which resists this force. So there is, suppose for example, there is this force which is applied on this body, but now this body, it also have some internal stress and this will resist this force. So this is the internal force, it is divided by the area over which it acts within the body, and this is known as stress. So basically this is the diagram. When the external forces, they are applied, there is this, so this is the body, so it has this internal forces. Since internal resistance force, it is difficult to measure, so practically stress, it is calculated from the external force which is applied. So basically it is difficult to calculate this internal stress, so we are considering the stress as what the external forces are. So stress is nothing but the force upon area. So now what is strain? So strain may be defined as, it is the change in the length per unit length dimension which is compared to the original dimension. So basically when you are applying stress, because of that, what the change of the body is. So when you are applying this force, so how much the change is present, so that is this strain. So what is the change in the dimension of it? It is nothing but the strain. So basically strain, they have no unit, it is a dimensionless quantity, because now you are changing the length upon the original length. So now it is, suppose if it is meter upon meter, so it cancels, and because of that it is a unitless quantity. So stress and strain, they are interrelated terms, while the stress is the cause and strain is the effect. So stress is the nothing but the force which you are applying, and strain is the effect of which. So the force when you are applying on something and the result that you get, it is nothing but the strain. Starting off with the next subtopic, that is the center of resistance and the center of mass. Now as we have seen, we apply force on everything, on a body, to get that change in the position. But now exactly where you need to apply that force, because you cannot apply the force anywhere that you want. So there is this particular place that it should be applied, and that is the center of resistance and the center of mass. So basically it's like all the objects, they have a center of mass or a center of gravity. So every body or a free object, it behaves as if the mass, it is concentrated at a single point on which it can be perfectly balanced. So basically a body, it has a point on it because of which it is perfectly balanced. In other words, the center of mass, it is an object's balance point. For all the physical calculations, this point can be taken as the point where the whole body weight, it is concentrated, and it is termed as center of mass or center of gravity. So the center of mass, it is a point through which the applied force must pass. So center of mass, it is basically the point through which the applied force must pass for a free object to move linearly without any rotation. So this is basically now where you should apply your exact force. So it should be on this center of mass or center of gravity, so that it doesn't move, so that it doesn't get rotated and it is moving from one position to another position without getting rotated. So this is basically your center of gravity or center of mass. Now a tooth. So a tooth, it is within the socket and it is restrained by the periodontal support system. So this concept of center of resistance is applied to such body. So now your tooth, it is embedded into this alveolar socket, and now over here, so this becomes the center of resistance for such bodies. So the center of resistance is nothing but an analogous balance point for the restrained body as the center of mass. So basically when it is a free body, it is center of mass, but when it is restrained, it becomes the same thing, it becomes the center of resistance. It is the point on the tooth or the structure when a single force it is passed through it, it would bring about its translation or bodily movement along the line of action of the force. So this is what your center of resistance is. When you are applying force onto that point, so center of resistance is the point on which the tooth or the structure when the single force is passed. So when you are passing the force onto that point, so that will lead to the linearly or bodily movement of it, and there is no rotation. So generally the center of resistance of a tooth, it is usually constant. Center of resistance for a single rooted tooth, it is which has a normal alveolar bone level, so it is approximate at the level of midpoint of the embedded portion of the root. So basically it is about halfway between the root apex and the crest of the alveolar ridge. So basically it is like this center of resistance in a single rooted tooth, it is present halfway of the root apex. So this is your root apex, so it is present halfway of it. So this is in a single rooted tooth. But now some authors, they say a single rooted tooth, it is about, in like a single rooted tooth, the center of resistance is about 1/4 or 1/3 from the CJ to the root apex. So for example, if it is divided into 4 parts, so it is at the 1/4 of it, or it is at, if it is divided into 1/3, so it is at 1/3 of it from the CJ. So this is the CJ, so it is from CJ 1/4 or 1/3 to the root apex. So this is for the single rooted teeth. Now for center of resistance for multi-rooted tooth are, so it is between the roots. So it is present, so over here this is your center of resistance. So it is present between the roots 1 to 2 mm apical to the furcation between the roots. So this is your furcation area. It is present 1 to 2 mm apical to it. So this is the exact position of the center of resistance in a multi-rooted tooth. Now for the maxilla, center of resistance, it passes from the center of the maxillary sinus. And for the whole maxillary dentition, so the center of resistance, it is present between the roots of premolars. So it is present between the roots of premolars for the maxillary dentition, and for maxilla itself, it is through the center of maxillary sinus. Then it is like in vertical direction. Now if you are seeing in vertical direction, it is below the orbit. So this is the orbit. So this center of resistance, it is below the orbit, and it is lateral to the lateral incisor. So it is lateral to the lateral incisor for the intrusive movement of the maxillary anterior teeth segment. So basically it's like knowing the location of the center of resistance is thus very important in planning the appropriate mechanotherapy. So if you exactly know where the center of resistance is, and as the center of resistance, it brings about the bodily movement, so it becomes easy now where exactly you need to apply the orthodontic tooth movements at. Now there are two factors which can change the position of the center of resistance of the tooth, which is the root length and the alveolar bone height. So if, now this is the example, now basically we have seen the center of resistance, it is present halfway from the root apex in the normal alveolar bone when the tooth, it is normal and the alveolar bone height is also normal. But now in case if there is bone loss, so now you can see over here, this is the normal bone level, and over here there is this bone loss. So in this case, this center of resistance, it gets more apically positioned. So it shifts to more apical position. Likewise, if the root becomes shorter, so in this case, if there is root resorption and the alveolar crest, it becomes relatively higher. So in that case, now the bone level is normal, but now your root, it is resorbed. So in this case, now your center of resistance, it is shifted coronally. So it is shifted coronally. So this is the center of resistance. So if you are applying the force on this center of resistance, so it causes the translation of the tooth without any rotation, where all the points on the body, they move the same amount in the same direction as the line of force, and this movement is known as translation. So in orthodontics, the same movement where all the points, they move in the same amount in the same direction, it is known as bodily movement. So in orthodontics, it is known as bodily movement. So there are various tooth movements which occurs. So there is like tipping of tooth, intrusion, extrusion, bodily movement, torque. So I'm going to explain all of this. But now remember, because of this center of resistance, there is bodily movement. So basically your body, it moves from one position to another as it is in the same direction, in the same movement. So that was this center of resistance. So basically this was all about the center of resistance and the center of mass. Now there are various other terms which are related to the orthodontic tooth movement, that are movement, couple, center of rotation, and there are some ratios which are related to them. So I'm going to explain them properly in the next part of this video. And this was it for this part. Thank you so much.